What if I told you that the next 30 days could change the rest of your life? What if one simple decision, waking up at 4 a.m., could make you unstoppable? Most people sleep through their dreams, but winners wake up to chase them. Today, I'm not here to talk about waking up early. I'm here to talk about waking up to your potential. Discipline over motivation, that's where everything truly begins. You see, motivation is like the wind, it comes and it goes. Some days you feel it blowing strong behind your back, pushing you forward with energy and excitement. But then there are days when it's completely still, when you wake up and you just don't feel like doing anything. That's when most people stop. That's when most people hit snooze. But not you, not the one who decides to wake up at 4 a.m. Because when you wake up before the world, you're not depending on motivation anymore. You're training your mind to obey your purpose, not your feelings. When that alarm rings and your body screams, 5 more minutes, but you still get up, that's discipline, that's power. That's the exact moment you're building something inside yourself that no one can take away from you. The ability to do what must be done, whether you feel like it or not. It's easy to be motivated when life feels good, when the sky is bright and the mood is right. But real winners are born in those dark hours when the bed feels warm and the world is silent, yet they rise. Waking up at 4 a.m. teaches you that success is not a matter of luck. It's a matter of consistency. It's about showing up for yourself even when no one is watching. You become stronger because you learn to keep promises to yourself. Every single morning that you wake up early, you tell your mind, I am in control. I run my life. And once you start controlling your mornings, you start controlling your days, and soon your destiny. Discipline at 4 a.m. is not just about getting up early. It's about building the kind of person who no longer depends on external motivation. You become your own fuel. The world around you can change, people can disappoint you, circumstances can fail you, but discipline, that inner fire, stays with you. That's what makes 4 a.m. so special. It's not just the quietness of the hour, it's the silence that gives birth to strength, the stillness that shapes warriors. When you wake up at 4 a.m., you're telling the universe, I'm serious about my dreams. You're proving to yourself that comfort is no longer your priority, growth is. And over time, that small act of discipline becomes a habit. That habit becomes a mindset, and that mindset becomes a lifestyle of success. So remember, motivation might get you started once in a while, but discipline, the kind that wakes up before dawn, is what keeps you unstoppable. Mental clarity, that's one of the most powerful gifts that waking up at 4 a.m. gives you. When the world is still asleep, when the noise of the city hasn't started, when phones aren't buzzing and notifications aren't calling your attention, there is silence. And in that silence, something magical happens. Your mind begins to breathe. Your thoughts, which are usually tangled during the busy hours of the day, start to untangle themselves. You can hear yourself think. You can feel your purpose clearly. It's like the fog of distraction slowly lifts, and for the first time, you can see exactly where you want to go. At 4 a.m., your mind is untouched by the chaos of the world. It hasn't yet been polluted by opinions, worries, or the stress that fills the air later in the day. It's a sacred time when you can focus on your thoughts, your vision, your dreams, without interruption. That's why so many of the world's most successful people protect their mornings like treasure. They know that the early hours are when their minds are sharpest, their creativity is at its peak, and their focus is pure. Imagine this: while everyone else is still lost in sleep, you sit alone with your thoughts, maybe with a notebook or a cup of tea, and you start to reflect. You think about your goals, your journey, your mistakes, and your progress. You plan, you visualize, you create. This is not just a routine, it's a powerful mental exercise that strengthens your mind. Because clarity is not something that just appears, it's something you create intentionally. And the best time to do it is when the world is quiet and your mind is fresh. When you wake up at 4 a.m., you step into a space where your thoughts are loud enough to be heard. You realize how many brilliant ideas come when your brain isn't overloaded by external noise. The early morning becomes your personal workshop of creation, a time to design your life consciously rather than just reacting to it. Most people spend their entire day responding to messages, to problems, to people, and by the end of it, they're drained. But you, the one who rises early, begin your day from a place of clarity and control. You decide what matters before the world decides it for you. That's what mental clarity does. It gives you direction. When your mind is clear, you don't waste energy on confusion or doubt. You move with confidence because you've already taken time to think, to plan, and to prepare. You're no longer running blindly through the day, you're walking with intention. Every action you take has purpose behind it. And there's another beauty to this. The early morning quiet also gives you the space to connect with yourself. In those silent moments, you start to understand your emotions, your fears, your dreams on a deeper level. You learn to listen to your inner voice, the one that often gets drowned out during the noise of the day. You find peace in reflection, and that peace becomes your strength. So when you walk out into the world later in the morning, you're already centered, you've already won your first battle, the battle of the mind. And because your mind is clear, you make better decisions, you handle challenges calmly, and you stay focused on what truly matters. That's the secret power of waking up at 4 a.m. It's not just about having more hours in the day, it's about having better quality hours, hours that belong entirely to you, hours that bring clarity, focus, and peace. When your mind is clear, your life becomes clear. And that kind of clarity, born in the silence of 4 a.m., is what separates those who drift from those who design their destiny. Physical energy, that's the fuel that carries your dreams into reality. When you wake up at 4 a.m. and dedicate those first hours to moving your body, you're not just building muscles, you're building momentum. You're setting the tone for the entire day ahead. The human body is like a machine. It performs best when it's activated early, when blood starts flowing, when your heartbeat rises, when your lungs expand with deep breaths of fresh morning air. That first burst of activity sends a signal to every cell in your body saying, it's time to rise, it's time to perform, it's time to conquer. The beauty of early morning exercise is that it doesn't just awaken your body, it awakens your spirit. As you move, sweat, and feel your body warming up, you start to feel alive. You feel a deep connection between your body and your purpose. You realize that energy is not something you wait for, it's something you create. And once you learn to generate energy through movement, you no longer drag yourself through the day. You power through it with strength and confidence. While others are still buried under their blankets, you're already out there, maybe jogging under the stars, maybe stretching in silence, maybe lifting weights, or meditating with focused breathing. The air feels cleaner, the world feels calmer, and in that sacred time, you're doing something most people will never do. You're preparing your body and mind for victory before the world even wakes up. That early workout becomes your secret weapon. It strengthens your willpower, it boosts your mood, and it builds discipline that seeps into every other part of your life. Science shows that physical movement releases endorphins. Those feel good chemicals that make you happier, calmer, and more focused. But there's something beyond science here. There's a deeper emotional satisfaction that comes from knowing you did something difficult while everyone else was still asleep. That sense of achievement gives you energy that no cup of coffee can provide. You walk taller, you think clearer, and you carry yourself with pride because you've already won the first battle of the day against your own comfort. Physical energy is the foundation for mental power. When your body is strong, your thoughts become sharper, your focus becomes deeper, and your confidence becomes unshakable. Every squat, every push up, every run at 4 a.m. teaches your mind that you are capable of more than you think. It reminds you that you can endure discomfort and still move forward. That lesson doesn't just apply to fitness, it applies to life. Because in life, success requires stamina. You need energy to chase goals, to handle setbacks, to stay consistent when others quit. And that energy begins in the body. When you make movement a part of your morning routine, you're not only training your muscles, you're training your attitude. You start to see effort as something beautiful. You begin to crave progress instead of comfort. You start the day not tired but charged. And the best part, the energy you create in the morning carries you through everything else. Your work, your relationships, your mindset. You walk into challenges with vitality. You face obstacles with strength. Waking up at 4 a.m. and using that time to move your body is like lighting a fire inside you, a fire that burns all day long. It reminds you that your body is not a limitation, it's your greatest tool. It's the vehicle that carries your dreams forward. The more you take care of it, the more it takes care of you. So every morning, when the world is silent and the sky is dark, and you lace up your shoes or roll out your mat, remember this: you're not just working out, you're waking up your potential. You're reminding yourself that energy doesn't come from sleep alone, it comes from action. The body in motion creates a mind in focus, and a mind in focus creates a life in motion. And that's the true power of physical energy. It transforms your mornings, and ultimately, it transforms you. Morning learning time, that sacred window of silence when your mind is open, sharp, and hungry to grow. At 4 a.m., when the world is still asleep, you have a golden opportunity to feed your mind before the noise of the day begins. This is not about forcing yourself to study like a student cramming for exams. It's about nurturing your intellect, expanding your awareness, and feeding your soul with knowledge that moves you forward. In those early hours, your brain operates differently. It's rested, it's receptive, and it's free from distraction. That's why learning during this time doesn't just inform you, it transforms you. Imagine sitting in that quiet dawn with a book in your hands, a journal open before you, or a podcast playing softly in your ears. There's a calmness in the air that allows you to truly absorb what you're reading or hearing. Words don't just enter your mind, they sink into your heart. You start to connect ideas in a deeper way. The lessons you study don't just stay on the page, they become a part of you. That's the magic of morning learning. It's not about volume, it's about depth. It's about quality thinking before the world interrupts it. When you dedicate time every morning to learn something, even if it's just for 30 minutes, you are compounding your growth day by day. You start to notice how your thinking evolves, how your decisions become sharper, how your conversations become more meaningful. You begin to carry a quiet confidence because you know you're not the same person you were yesterday. You've grown, even if only a little, and that growth adds up over time. Most people rush into their day reacting to emails, messages, and chaos. But when you've already invested the first hour of your morning in learning, you walk into your day with wisdom instead of anxiety, with clarity instead of confusion. Waking up at 4 a.m. gives you the luxury of uninterrupted time that belongs completely to you. You can read books that inspire you, listen to mentors who challenge you, study philosophies that expand your perspective, or write reflections that clear your thoughts. You can learn from history, from great minds, from spirituality, from anything that nourishes your inner growth. And when you do this consistently, something powerful happens. Your mind becomes a weapon. You stop being easily influenced by negativity or ignorance. You begin to see patterns others miss. You develop the ability to think independently, to make decisions with clarity, and to lead with confidence. Morning learning also connects you with gratitude. When you study something inspiring at dawn, you feel thankful for another day to grow, to improve, to understand life better. That gratitude gives your mind peace and purpose. It reminds you that learning is not a burden, it's a privilege. Knowledge becomes your morning fuel. It energizes your thoughts, just like exercise energizes your body. And once your mind is active and inspired, you move through the rest of the day with enthusiasm and direction. Some of the greatest thinkers, inventors, and leaders in history were early risers for this very reason. They understood that the quiet hours of morning are the most powerful for self-education. While others were lost in dreams, they were building theirs. They studied, wrote, reflected, and planned. That's how they stayed ahead, not because they were smarter, because they used their mornings wisely. The truth is, success is not just about working hard, it's about thinking better. And better thinking comes from a better mindset. Morning learning builds that mindset. It fills your mind with positive input before the world tries to feed you negativity. It replaces confusion with clarity, doubt with wisdom, and fear with understanding. It's a silent transformation that happens day after day, until one day you look back and realize you've become a completely different person. more focused, more insightful, more alive. So when you wake up at 4 a.m., don't waste that time scrolling or rushing. Open a book, write your thoughts, listen to something that uplifts you. Feed your mind before you feed your body, because what you put into your mind in the early morning becomes the foundation for everything you think, feel, and do throughout the day. Every page, every line, every idea, it's building your future self. And that's the ultimate reward of morning learning. You don't just wake up early to start your day. You wake up early to start becoming the person you were meant to be. Focused planning, that quiet yet powerful practice that turns ordinary mornings into extraordinary days. When you wake up at 4 a.m., before the rest of the world begins its rush, you have the rare gift of clarity and control. This is the moment when your mind is untouched by distraction, when your energy hasn't yet been scattered by noise, and when you can truly decide what kind of day you want to live. Most people start their mornings reacting to the world, checking their phones, answering messages, worrying about the tasks ahead. But you, the one who wakes up early, get to design your day before it even begins. In those peaceful early hours, you sit down with a pen, a notebook, or even just your thoughts, and you start mapping out your intentions. You don't rush, you breathe. You think about what truly matters today, what deserves your time, your energy, your focus. You prioritize what's important over what's merely urgent. You decide what kind of attitude you want to bring into your work, your relationships, and your actions. That kind of planning is not just about scheduling tasks. It's about creating direction, purpose, and balance. You're not just writing a to-do list, you're shaping your mindset for success. At 4 a.m., the world feels still. There is no pressure, no noise, no chaos. That silence gives your thoughts room to stretch. You can look at your goals without the stress of deadlines breathing down your neck. You can ask yourself questions like, what am I building today? What do I want to feel when the day ends? What step will take me closer to my dreams? These questions are powerful because they remind you that every day is a building block of your future. Focused planning helps you use each block wisely. When you plan your day early, you step into it with confidence. You no longer drift from one task to another, overwhelmed or unsure. You move with purpose because you've already seen the road ahead. You know where to put your energy and when to rest it. You've already drawn the map while others are still searching for directions. And as the hours unfold, you find yourself calm even when challenges appear because you've already mentally prepared for them. You've rehearsed success in your mind before it happens in reality. Planning at 4 a.m. is also about setting the tone for your inner world. You get to choose your mindset before the world tries to choose it for you. You can decide that today you will be calm, focused, and patient. You can commit to gratitude, to kindness, to progress. By consciously creating your inner state, you stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the architect of your emotions. This is what separates the average from the exceptional. The average person lives by chance. The exceptional person lives by design. Another beautiful thing about early morning planning is the perspective it brings. When the sun hasn't yet risen, you feel small in the vastness of the world, yet deeply connected to it. You realize that life isn't just about getting through the day, it's about creating something meaningful in it. You start to see time not as something to be spent, but as something to be invested. Each hour becomes an opportunity, and planning helps you use those hours wisely. Through focused planning, you also learn the art of saying no, no to distractions, no to unnecessary noise, no to things that don't serve your growth. You start guarding your time like a treasure because you understand how precious it is. You become more intentional with your commitments, more deliberate with your energy. That's when you begin to notice the shift. Your days become more productive, your mind becomes calmer, and your life becomes more organized. When you plan early, you're not just managing time, you're mastering it. You're learning to lead your life rather than letting life lead you. You're not running after the day is running after you. You become proactive, not reactive. You approach challenges with strategy instead of stress. You know what needs to be done, why it matters, and how it fits into the bigger vision of your life. That level of clarity is rare, and it's born in the quiet, disciplined moments of early morning. So when the clock strikes 4 a.m. and you sit in stillness, understand that this is your time to create direction. You're building your future one plan at a time. You're reminding yourself that success doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. Each goal you write, each decision you clarify, each thought you align is a step closer to becoming who you were meant to be. Planning is not about control, it's about intention. It's the act of telling the universe, I'm ready, I'm focused, I'm in charge of my life. And when you start your mornings that way, everything that follows becomes more purposeful, more productive, and more powerful. Peace and presence. Two words that carry a depth few truly understand, yet they are the very essence of waking up early. When you rise at 4 a.m., before the rest of the world begins its race, you enter a moment of rare stillness that almost feels sacred. The world is silent, the air is calm, and there's an invisible peace that wraps around everything. It's in this silence that you begin to feel something you might not have felt in a long time. Presence. The kind of presence that brings you face to face with yourself without distractions, without noise, without pressure. At 4 a.m., there are no notifications demanding your attention, no voices pulling you in different directions, no deadlines rushing toward you. There is only you, your breath, your heartbeat, your thoughts, your existence. In that quiet, you realize how noisy life has become, how constantly the world tugs at your attention, and how rare it is to just be. This moment of peace is not laziness, it's alignment. It's where you reconnect with your inner world before you step into the outer one. You sit there, maybe with your eyes closed, maybe watching the faint light of dawn touch the sky, and you start to feel gratitude for simply being alive. The stillness isn't empty, it's full. Full of meaning, full of awareness. You start to notice the sound of your breath, the rhythm of your thoughts, the calmness in your heart. That peace is healing. It softens the chaos that builds up inside you during busy days. It clears your emotional dust so you can see life more clearly. In those quiet moments, your mind slows down. You stop overthinking. You stop chasing the future or replaying the past. You are just here in the present moment. That presence is powerful. It's grounding. It teaches you that peace isn't found by escaping the world, it's found by returning to yourself. And when you begin your day in that state of peace, everything else that follows becomes calmer, more intentional, more beautiful. You don't rush through tasks, you move through them with mindfulness. You don't react to problems, you respond with clarity. Waking up early gives you a chance to reset your inner state before the outer world can influence it. If you've ever felt lost, overwhelmed, or drained, it's often because you start your days already in chaos. But when you wake up before dawn, you start them with peace. You give yourself time to breathe, to think, to exist without rushing. You reclaim your space in a world that constantly tries to pull you away from yourself. Peace and presence are not luxuries, they are necessities. Without them, your actions lose meaning. You might be busy all day, but you'll feel empty inside. You might achieve success, but it won't bring you contentment. That's why 4 a.m. is so powerful. It reconnects you with the simple joy of being. It reminds you that life is not just about doing more, but about feeling more, understanding more, and living with awareness. When you wake up early, you give yourself time to meditate, to pray, to journal, or simply to sit in silence. These practices are not routines, they're rituals, acts of self-connection. They help you listen to your intuition, that quiet voice inside that gets drowned out during the day. In that stillness, you can ask yourself meaningful questions. What do I really want? What am I grateful for? What do I need to let go of? And often, in the silence of dawn, the answers appear naturally, not from the mind, but from the soul. Peace at 4 a.m. isn't just external, it becomes internal. It teaches you emotional balance. You begin to realize that even if the world outside is chaotic, you can carry stillness within you. That inner peace becomes your strength. It protects your energy, it keeps you grounded when challenges appear, and it allows you to move through life with grace instead of stress. People around you start to notice something different. A calm confidence, a quiet power. That's the result of being present in your mornings. Presence also teaches appreciation. You start to notice small things you used to ignore. The coolness of the morning air, the colors of the sky, the sound of birds, the beauty of silence. You realize that these simple moments are not small, they're sacred. They remind you that peace was never gone. It was just waiting for you to slow down enough to feel it. So when you rise at 4 a.m., don't rush to fill the silence. Sit with it. Let it hold you. Let it teach you that peace isn't found somewhere far away. It's created by the way you show up in the moment. Be still, be aware, be grateful. Because that peace and presence you feel in the early hours don't just stay there, they travel with you. They shape how you speak, how you work, how you live. And that's when you realize waking up early is not just about having more time, it's about having better time. Time spent with yourself, time that nourishes your soul before the world takes a piece of it. Time that reminds you that amidst all the noise, the truest success is the peace you carry within. Momentum for the day, it's the invisible force that sets everything in motion. When you wake up at 4 a.m. and take charge of your morning, you are not just starting your day earlier, you're setting the tone, the rhythm, and the direction for everything that follows. Momentum is that unstoppable flow of energy that builds from one small victory to another, and the way you start your day determines how strong that flow becomes. Most people begin their mornings in chaos, rushing, running late, reacting. But when you rise before the world, you move from a place of power, not panic. Think of it like this: your morning is the foundation of the entire day. If you build it with care, with purpose, with focus, the rest of the day stands strong. But if you start it in confusion, frustration, or laziness, everything else feels unstable. Waking up at 4 a.m. gives you control over that foundation. You get to decide how the first moments of your day will feel: calm or chaotic, meaningful or meaningless, strong or weak. And once you start strong, you carry that strength with you into every task, every conversation, every challenge. That's what momentum does. It multiplies your energy and gives you direction before the sun even rises. The first few hours of your day are like the first push of a swing, small but powerful enough to keep you moving for hours. When you wake up early and make your bed, meditate, exercise, plan, or even just breathe with intention, you are stacking wins. These small victories send a powerful message to your subconscious: I'm in control, I'm capable, I'm ready. That confidence builds, and suddenly you're no longer chasing the day is chasing you. You move with purpose, not pressure. You feel ahead, not behind. Momentum is not about speed, it's about direction. It's about beginning your day with awareness instead of autopilot. It's about creating a rhythm that keeps your energy flowing smoothly instead of letting it scatter in all directions. When you wake up at 4 a.m., you experience a kind of flow that others rarely do. The silence allows you to focus, the discipline fuels your spirit, and the early wins ignite your motivation. As you go through the day, that early energy doesn't fade. It transforms into productivity, confidence, and emotional stability. The power of momentum also lies in the way it builds consistency. When you keep showing up early, when you keep moving forward no matter how small the step, you teach your brain that progress is a habit, and habits are what shape your destiny. Over time, the discipline of waking early creates a mental rhythm that pushes you to do more, be more, and expect more from yourself. You begin to see effort as rewarding, not exhausting. You begin to crave that sense of forward motion every morning because it feels right. It feels alive. But momentum doesn't just make you productive, it makes you peaceful. Because when you start your day with intentional action, you remove stress before it can begin. You don't feel rushed or reactive because you've already taken charge. You move through the hours with clarity and calmness. Even when unexpected problems appear, you handle them with balance because your mind is already anchored in purpose. You're not dragged by the day, you're directing it. And the beauty of momentum is that it compounds. One good morning turns into a good day. A string of good days becomes a productive week. Weeks of consistent effort become months of growth. And before you realize it, you've transformed, not because of one big event, but because of hundreds of small, consistent pushes that all began in the quiet darkness of 4 a.m. That's how great lives are built. One intentional morning at a time. Momentum also affects the people around you. When you walk into your home, your school, or your workplace already centered and confident, people feel that energy. You become a source of stability, of inspiration. Your calmness becomes contagious, your discipline becomes admirable, and your energy becomes magnetic. People may not know your secret, but you do. It's those early hours, those quiet victories that no one sees. Every time you rise before the world, you remind yourself that success doesn't come from luck or talent alone. It comes from movement, from consistency, from refusing to stay still. That's what momentum really is. Motion with meaning. It's the invisible current that carries you forward when motivation fades. So when you wake up tomorrow at 4 a.m., don't think of it as just another early morning. Think of it as lighting a spark. The spark becomes a flame. The flame becomes a fire, and that fire keeps burning through your entire day. You notice that everything seems to fall into place, not because life has changed, but because you have. You've created your own rhythm, your own flow, your own momentum. And once that energy starts moving, nothing can stop it. Not doubt, not fear, not fatigue. That's the true gift of an early start. It doesn't just give you more time, it gives you the unstoppable force to make every hour that follows count.